Hey loves, how are you? Hope you've been doing well since the time of the eclipse. I know that I've been quiet. I did want to come on a few times, but I kept getting clear and direct guidance to give everyone space to process through their own directives and then see where we're landing. I have been getting some themes that have been coming up, and I'm curious to see if they resonate with you. So since the eclipse, maybe right before, but definitely since, there's been this energy and essence of the divine and sacred feminines unraveling and dissolving any protective mechanisms that may have been especially in her heart space. And the feminine essences are working through this so that they are in a place and space to be able to receive true love. And there's a theme with this where we are in the space of dissolving all of the old stories and all of the old patterns. I've been seeing very big karmic collective patterns collapsing. So many of you may be experiencing very big shifts in relationships and also big, huge timeline shifts. With this, it's also coupled with the sacred and divine masculines really stepping forward into the new energies and truly building trust with themselves, which is they're building this momentum of beginning to truly listen to and trust their own inner knowing and their true heart. And there's sort of this dance happening within that. It feels like some are in it and some are starting to test it out, and there's like a whole spectrum of that process happening for the masculines. And what's happening within that is that it's as they're feeling more and more self-trust, it's allowing more trust to be present within the connections. So those of you who are here with me and have been working on your inner union, regardless of how you identify, more than likely you've been experiencing some dance of both of these energies, which will be a clear indication to you of what is occurring within your divine counterpart twin flame connection if you are here for that part of the journey. But even if you're not here for that specific journey, there's this dynamic happening on our planet within the masculine and feminine collectives at the forefront of the leadership of this ascension energy. Okay. So we're going to dive into some energies and supports around that. I am going to share some of the visions and experiences that I have had leading up to the eclipse and also over these last few days. And then I may pull some cards. I was guided to shuffle those this morning and have them ready in case we have some real-time energies that want to come through as well. So, yeah, let me know how you guys are doing in the comments if you feel guided. So, for my experience, and I for some reason I have a feeling many of you may have a similar experience to some degree. So the last video I did was on Sunday, and after that video, which was the day before the eclipse, I was actually guided to, it was very sunny and gorgeous here that day, and I was guided to do some of my own preparatory work, but I was also called to work with others on some planetary energies and holding space for the overall collective masculine and feminine essences being stabilized more deeply on to earth, but also there was really huge energies within the earth that were freed. Sort of how we talked last week, we were connecting in with the dragon energy, and part of what my experience was, as I've sort of processed through it, was that those dragon energies that are the sacred earth keepers of our planet and support with protecting and caring for the earth and the children of the earth were actually freed into their sovereignty. And it was definitely an energy and essence for me that felt very deeply like They were an aspect of me, but I was also an aspect of them. And the more I sat with it felt like, in some levels, like we were all an aspect of these dragon keepers and Earth's children. There, through this process, there was many, many baby dragons that were also released and freed. And to me, this felt like the energy and the essence of our sacred inner child essence of all humans on the planet, and how we spoke about really truly going from that like snake kundalini into the dragon energy. And for any of you who have connected and resonate with the dragon energy, you know and understand how incredibly powerful and graceful and strong these essences are. And so we may be working with those more here on the channel directly. Maybe there will even be a group. I kind of sense that potential brewing. But with that, that was like some of the overall energies, and it was very deeply connected also with the masculine and feminine essences. And as those energies had been, let's say, imprisoned, um, what that did to the masculine and feminine dynamic was essentially what I saw was like the masculine and feminine being tethered to one another from behind, um, but not both able to be sovereign in their own energy. So it was creating like this codependent energy, but not because necessarily either of them wanted it that way. It was like where they were imprisoned and tied together, which makes sense if you see the masculine and feminine dynamic on our planet. But what is happening is all of that is unraveling. So they're each free to step into sovereignty and divine freedom within their own full energies and essences, which we've been working on, which is where the masculine goes into his inner union, feminine goes into her inner union, and then they're able to work together, support each other, still obviously each holding their own specific strengths. But as they're able to drop into their own full energy more deeply in their own essence, it allows for that sacred union energy to come into alignment within partnership dynamics. Okay. And that to me was where I saw the vision of them coming up internally, right? Where it's coming up in the Kundalini energies and the sacred dragon parts are coming together with the feminine and masculine. Okay. Also, then it extends out into sacred partnerships that are formed and or deeply forming now. For me, it feels like even if there were sacred partnerships in establishment, they're expanding significantly at this time because these energies are becoming more and more available for us as they become freed from the planet. As they're freed from the planet, they are freed within our system because we are Mother Earth's children. We are made up of the same elements as the earth. Our bodies are earth. Okay, loves? And so just roll with these however you are feeling them. Okay. It could be what I'm sensing, different experience for each and every one of you, but I did feel guided to ground and anchor these messages in. There, like I said, I feel like there might be a group or something coming in. Maybe we'll even work on this in the sacred circle. I have a couple things that I'm being shown to be doing with you guys or offering, so we'll see how this plays out over the next few days and weeks as I gain clarity. But that is another thing that as things settled, as the feminines were working on these defense mechanisms around their heart, and the masculines are building trust, it's like that internal trust is happening deeper within our own hearts and then also externally in the connections. So, a couple supportive messages that came through is for the feminines to or masculines, whoever is working on unraveling and clearing the defense mechanisms, which I want to acknowledge was very, very deep, even in the feminines within the masculine side of the feminines. This brings me back to the exact time of the eclipse. The day of the eclipse, it was very exceedingly cloudy here, and I went for a walk right before. But during the actual totality, I was guided to just lay on my couch. And the downloads I was receiving was that as the moon passed over the sun, it was illuminating and beginning to dissolve any of the distortion and delusion that was continuing to remain within these connections. Okay. Within the planet and the sacred connections. As the next few days processed, I started to get messages and downloads that over the next few years on the planet, we may see lots of relationship changes, divorces, kind of like a reshuffle. That many of you may have remembered that happened back in 2020 during COVID. There was a round of people who exited marriages. Many initial twin flame divine counterpart connections were established in that moment and then dispersed to go off and do the work. There was lots of different things that were occurring, but there was a big wave at that time. But now with these original codes being restored and recalibrated to where we actually are now, there is going to be, from what I'm being shown, lots and lots of relationship dynamics changing. And what is being cleared out is any false marriages, any relationships that were in those dynamics where it was spell work or magic or dark magic or manipulation that allowed the relationships to be in place. And this is more so happening so that the true energies and the true alignment and the true matches have sacred, open, safe space to come back into alignment. And it feels very, very important for those of you who are doing this work to remember all of the delusion, the misunderstanding, the betrayals, the dissociation, all of those things that were in the connection are not the true connection. It's the distortion, the bindings, the spell work, the magic, all of those things, the dark magic, the shadow, all the things that were built on top of and in between the connections, right? All of that is getting cleared out. So as you keep working within your system, that's adding to the overall dissolving of the bigger collective patterns. And I have to say, awesome, amazing work because from what I'm seeing, sensing, feeling, and being shown, major, major, major karmic patterns are being lifted and shifted for those who have been working on their temperance, aligning with their highest timeline, and being willing to drop into truth, looking at truth within yourself and being willing to look at what's actually in front of you, regardless of what is happening, right? Kind of like we said, be in this world, but not of it. Being able to stabilize and balance in these energies and be in the truth of what is present, but also holding the space for those highest timeline energies. I feel from what I'm seeing is that we have literally established a major new higher timeline for the collective, especially over these last few days. So we will be seeing over the next days and weeks a lot of big shuffling. It may be with you, but you might be stable and you might be seeing it in a lot of relationships and people, places, and things around you. You may also be called in to support others to help them move to where they are meant to be. So that is where I've noticed I've been very, very guided to be in the moment, but also as I'm being shown to just start taking one step at a time towards what I'm being shown. And as I do the first step, the next step is revealed. And as I do that, the next step is revealed. And we have really established a much deeper flow of being able to be stable in flow, right? Freedom and discipline. This is the thing to actually embody true freedom, right? In the essence of the full capacity of who we are as beings, we needed to have levels of stability and discipline to be able to move with the bandwidth and the true depth and expansiveness of the energies that we are capable of holding as we build these muscles, okay? And as we do it for ourselves, we are able to then allow those energies to recalibrate into our connections, which each time we do that, each time one of us establishes a new, deeper way of stabilizing and being in temperance and love within ourselves, we're sharing those results into the connections and it's recalibrating your connection. Okay. Or you can do that if you feel guided to. But either way, however you choose to participate, these are just the natural things that are occurring as we dissolve the defense mechanisms. And so, on the other side, like I said, the masculines are really truly dropping into trusting themselves, which is dropping more trust into the connections. So, again, regardless of how you identify masculine or feminine, we're working on our inner union. So we're working on these energies of self trust. So as we dissolve the defense mechanisms that were protecting us at one point, but now we're unraveling the old stories so we can drop back into the truth of the love. This is where you're dropping in your own love into the old stories, into the pain, into the suffering, into the betrayal. You open it up, you clear it out, you ask for clarity and truth, you drop in your own love, and you give it space to clear out. Okay. These are some of the things I do. I've also been being shown that that's part of what I'm meant to be doing. And soon I might be coming out with some groups or um, like teaching webinars where I'll share some of the techniques that I do because I've had multiple people asking me to help them work on trusting their intuition and things like that. So I believe that everyone has their own unique way, but I think that it can be beneficial sometimes to have a template to kind of work with or strengthen into, and or even if you already have your own really strong way of doing, if it resonates, it's always fun to broaden the toolbox, so to speak, and learn new techniques, even if it's only one or two things, it can really help things open up. So I think I'm going to be sharing those if you guys feel like you would like to have more of that type of information available to you. So, yes, it feels so important that we're each developing our own pillar of light, our own sovereign way of being so that you can trust yourself because trusting yourself is going to support you in every single thing that you do in your life, no matter what it is. Okay. And if you can trust yourself in your guidance and stabilize yourself deeper and deeper, it really begins to open things up because now you're ready to handle what's coming in and what is meant for you. So, again, keep feeling guided back to, they keep bringing me back to the defense mechanism part and the part of our hearts or where we protected ourselves from the pain of the past. And yes, like I said, allowing yourself to dissolve out of what was and asking to simply drop in the truth of what is now, dropping in the results of the work that you have done, how you learn to actually have healthy boundaries. Because where we have healthy boundaries, where we trust ourselves to show up for ourselves, now we can drop in the self unconditional love. You drop the results of that into the old defense mechanisms and protective mechanisms. And now those parts of us can start to dissolve because they're like, oh, okay, this original protective mechanism or defense mechanism was there because I didn't know how to have healthy boundaries, because I didn't know how to process my triggers. Now I know how to. So I can drop the healthy results into that, and we can start to dissipate and break up those deeper levels of defense mechanisms and protective mechanisms because we have the new sorts. There's a really loud plane going ahead right now. Wow, okay, like really loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but um that feels significant. They're not usually that loud. But yes, so as you're dropping in the results of the new, it allows the defense mechanisms to start to dissolve and disband because you have true, genuine protection in your system And the true, genuine protection is your own love. Yeah, those are, I think, that's interesting. Those sounded like the fighter jets. Hmm. All right, maybe they're just practicing. There is a military base not too far from here, but it's very, very, very rare that you hear them around here. So if you were hearing that on the recording, I apologize. If not, then we just got an interjection of some airplane energy. Okay, so yes, I will repeat that because I don't know how loud it got for you. As we drop in the results of our healthy boundaries, as we drop in the results of our own self love, as we allow ourselves to bring those into the energies that come up from the past where we didn't have those abilities, what it does is now allows those old energies to start to dissolve. Okay. As they dissolve, you may experience some of the emotions or the memories, but like just know if and when that happens, it's because it's actually cleaning out of the cells and out of your energy field and letting the new results drop in. So what you might find is that it comes up quick, it might be intense, but then it moves out and dissolves quickly because the results of the solutions are already available to go into your system. If you would like deeper help with this is definitely stuff we can work on in a one-on-one session. So I'll drop that in the comments. I do also have a sacred circle coming up on May 1st. If you would like to join, I'll drop that as well. Oh, overall, yes. It's kind of hitting me that the noise of the plane got exceedingly loud when I was talking about dropping in the results of where we are now into the places and spaces where those defense mechanisms came into play. And what is coming to my mind is that as we get deeper into our true healing and our true internal union, you may find that you're getting into those places and spaces where you had the original soul merge with your counterpart, and you may start to notice energetically that you might get into these places and spaces where you were in the love bubble, and then the defense mechanisms and the triggers started to happen. So if and when you reach this pocket, you may feel both simultaneously, or you may even go back and forth. This is actually a good sign. This means you're returning to the original energies of your connection without the distortion, and you are clearing out those distortions that started to set in place. So if you're there, awesome. If you've already done it, awesome. If you're not there yet, that's okay. Now you're aware that this part of the process may come up for you and that it's actually an awesome sign. Okay, loves? So, yes. Okay, I know it might be a little bit long already, but I do feel guided to just open up and bring in some messages. I shuffled all my cards this morning, but I did feel very drawn to the mystical shaman oracle. Okay, we got the rattle. For me, this always brings in those earth energies. The drum energies often feel to me like that, that rhythm and that heartbeat of Mother Earth. For me, the rattle is like elements. That's what's coming through. It's like the rain and the wind and the sun and all of those elements that stir up the energy. Like the rattle stirs it up. It breaks up anything that's distortion. It allows the energy to get shaken up and actually clears those layers that do not belong there and allows the true essence to shine through. And so you may find like a couple things that happened to me is I got in these crazy automatic like cleaning modes. Like I started donating clothes and helped my dad clean out his attic. And like I just all of a sudden, like I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't have the plans to do it. I just all of a sudden got these very clear directives to clean out things that are no longer necessary, right? And so we're doing it internally, physically, in our home space, in our work. You may find that you want to bring in the energy and essence of a rattle to help you break up energy that's stagnant. This could be internally or in your environment. If you do not have a rattle, I'm pretty certain you can probably find some rattle sounds here on YouTube. If I remember, I'll try to look some up for you and see what we can find, and I'll drop it in the pinned comment for you. But what's coming through is that we're in a very big transitionary time right now. We know this, but this feels very, very much like a group of us were established in the new. Does this take time? Absolutely. We know this. Things happen, the energetics in the quanta, and it takes time to solidify and embody in the physical world into our human body and then into our lives, right, over time. But this is so important because that is where the actual embodiment happens. So I don't know why I feel guided. Bring in the rattle energy in whatever way, even if it's using your own voice, the humming, the toning, the chanting to help rattle and break up the energies within your own body. Like I said, within your environment, it just, even as I'm saying it, it feels very, very good because it's helping to clear the distortion and any layers of like the sediment we may have not been aware of. And it's allowing us to return to our true natural nature. Okay. So keep dropping into your truth, asking to get clarity within your natural nature, aligning with your own personal pillar of light to your highest self, to your deepest connection with the earth, continuing to align with your highest organic timeline and continuing to follow and trust your guidance as it is provided for you in the present moment, and then allowing yourself to trust what you're meant and how you're meant to move within each moment. And if you're guided to stillness, be still, right? If you're guided to action, take action, but really, really dropping into that deeper, deeper internal trust, really listening and giving yourself the space to build the muscle of the self trust. And at the same time, simultaneously allowing yourself to feel safe enough to thaw and dissolve those defense mechanisms because you're safe and stable enough to trust yourself to show up for yourself. You'd see how these collective energies are working in the internal union. And as you work with the inner union, it's reflecting in the outer. I would love to hear from you. Absolutely love to hear from you. What has been up with you? What have you been experiencing? Do you want to share anything with the group in the comments? What's been going on in your connection, if you've had movement, action, communication, or whatever is happening, whatever you feel guided. I would love to hear from you. And again, yes, I have some spaces next week to connect with you if you feel guided to do so. And I hope that you enjoyed this update, and I'll be seeing you very soon, loves. Love you. Bye.